Like Barry Williams, who used to teach English and who's as likely to quote Shakespeare as he is Tommy Docherty, does show that this is no ordinary club with ordinary thinking.
I think the psychology of the game is our one great advantage and could be the chink in their armour, in that we know that professional clubs do not like coming to non-league grounds. They have often been the graveyard of many aspiring professional sides. And I think the psychology of participation could help us. And I think the fact that we did well last year, and we know our ground, we know it will be filled to capacity, and we know the adrenaline will be running, I think that is where we might match the might of the First Division. And ability, and of course they have the advantage of being able to train together every day in their professional capacity. So what we have is a sense of teamship, and the faith that I have in the possibility that a victory might be achieved is based on that the team spirit will carry us through.
Electronic Trivial Pursuits takes the mind off Saturday and the game that really matters for just a little while. They score well here, but Coventry will be asking different questions which might not stimulate just as much satisfaction to Sutton as this computer does.
Side playing well from Monday.
Especially for the part-timers. Pratt and Golly in the 6-yard box waiting. Golly, and Rains, and a goal! And they have done it, and Tony Rains, the left back, is the hero of Sutton, for the time being at least. Now this morning, on a bleak park pitch, just behind the ground, they were working on this corner, and how it's paid off. The man to flick it on is Golly. And Rains, the number 3, puts that header past the man on the line. Kilcline and Sutton are in front. It's the 42nd minute and Kilcline couldn't keep it out. He only helped it in. Well, one thing Coventry won't want to do is concede another corner to what happened in the 42nd minute. This is Bennett. And now Sedgley. And Phillips has made a run from left back, and there's danger here for Sutton United. And Phillips has put Coventry City level. After 52 minutes, the Welsh international timing his run perfectly from deep. This was a splendid run by Phillips. Look at the way he bisects those two defenders, and he gets on the end of it on his right foot, which he favours, although he's playing left back today. And he turned that comfortably past Trevor Roffey. So 7 minutes after half-time, Sedgley made the running here for Coventry, saw what was on, placed that ball perfectly in the space, and David Phillips scores. Takes the corners on both sides, so we could look for another good delivery from him. Here's Dawson. Corner kick, bringing this little ground to life once more, and the Coventry defence was standing still. They've restored their lead, and Hanlon salutes the crowd. It was the decoy really from the corner. Coventry were expecting a direct cross. Dawson floats the ball in, it's flicked on, and Hanlon is the player who finishes it off from close in. 59 minutes gone. Good ball in by Dawson. Agrizovic lost. This is Smith. It's a teasing cross. Houchins up there, and Roffey onto the bar, and Sedgley now. Play on, and McGrath and Bennett get in each other's way. How did that stay out? Well, that was the great escape as far as Sutton were concerned, and Coventry with Barry Williams, whose nerves must have been on edge. He even took the pipe out of him there. Has been mighty glad of the help of his own defenders on a couple of occasions when he could do nothing about it. They've scrambled a couple away from the line for him. In this tremendous cup tie atmosphere. And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. Barry Williams' finest moment. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side down in the stockbroker country. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. Twice in front, the second time they were able to hold on. Both goals from corners, and Sutton United write their name all over the third round of the FA Cup in 1989, following in the footsteps of teams in the past from outside the league who put out First Division opposition. There haven't been too many. When it happens, it's headline news, and the headlines today belong to Sutton United and Barry Williams. Wonderful scenes here. Barry Williams started his programme notes with a verse of poetry today, and he may feel that there's something poetic about the way his side went out and defeated a First Division side.
Right time.
You get a lot of publicity for being an ex-teacher of English and looking rather stoic and all the rest of it. What did you write in the programme today? Oh, look here now, look at this. You nearly went in the bath, didn't you?
Well, yes, but I just had my blazer cleaned, and I said that I didn't want to particularly get that wet, but the next thing was my receding hairline on the shampoo. Yes.
What did you write in the programme today, though? You usually put a bit of Shakespeare in, or was it Kipling today?
Well, it was Kipling today. I felt that we should pay tribute not only to the players, but to the whole club, because we had an army of people working. Right. You know, the volunteers helping with the stewarding and the selling of the programmes. So I felt that little bit of Kipling was appropriate.
Yes, if you can keep your head and all that sort of...
And so hold on when there's nothing left in you, except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth, and everything is in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
What a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. Obviously a very special day when you beat Coventry, Trevor, and every player would have his own recollections. What comes back to mind as far as you're concerned?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the save I made against Cyril Regis, where he was in about 4 or 5 yards, and he shot across the goal, and I managed to get a foot and a leg to it, and again it went away for a corner. Surprising to get a goal kick, which was happy in the end because I could get it up there the other way of the pitch.
Free kick, I think it was, and it was on the right-hand side, and over sort of lofted the ball, and the centre half sort of rose about sort of 7 or 8 yards out, and he sort of headed the ball. I think it landed sort of in this roundabout sort of this region here, and it sort of rose up, and sort of somehow or other I just sort of lifted the ball over the bar. At that time I was absolutely exhausted, so I'm not sure how much sort of spring I had left in my legs, so I was reasonably fortunate it was coming at the right sort of height for me.
Kilcline! Oh, off the line. Robin Jones, was it? The right back? Well, I think he was standing on the right-hand post and somehow rescued his goalkeeper and his side.
It was about 5 minutes from the end. There was a pinball at the far post. Someone headed the ball across, hit the bar, dropped at the far post, and Coventry player was about a foot from the line. He just had to stick it in. So I just threw myself at him, and literally it was either him or the ball I made contact with, and somehow he hit the post, hit the bar, and it rocketed across the far post again.
This is Smith. It's a teasing cross. Houchins up there, and Roffey onto the bar, and Sedgley no. Play on, and McGrath and Bennett get in each other's way. How did that stay out?
It was towards the end of the first half. We had another corner over in the far side, and Mickey Stevens clipped in. This time they headed it out to the edge of the box, and just managed to get in front of Speedy and knock it back in. We had a good chance to score, and Lenny and Nigel had a bit of a mix-up. I think Nigel got a shot in towards the far post and just crawled past the far post, and Lenny slid in, but we got another corner out of that.
It was about midway through the second half, and Tony Raines picked up the ball on the left. He played the ball into me. I controlled it, then I turned and played a 1-2 with Paul McKinnon, and I got the ball back. Instead of shooting with my left foot, I opted to go for my right foot, and the goalkeeper pushed it around the post for a corner.
Dennis. Oh, he's through. Put there by McKinnon, and he's got Hanlon square, and Lenny Dennis went for the near post.
The
first thing that springs to mind was the chance I had in the second half, after about half an hour, I think, when Lenny Dennis jumped for the ball with Gruzovic. The ball fell out to me on the penalty spot, and I tried to lob him, but unfortunately went over the bar.
And Dennis goes in, and there's a chance for McKinnon.
Our first goal, I think I just clipped the ball in and was probably as near to perfection as we can get. Nigel just got a flick on and Tony got it in. Especially pleasing for me to do that after the morning session. I'd probably kicked every ball out the ground, and so it was really a case of, like, it'll be all right on the night.
And Golly, and Rains, and a goal!
And what was most satisfactory to me, myself, was the fact that I was being closely marked by Kilcline and Bennett, and still managed to get my head to the ball. And to look behind and see Tony actually put the ball in the net was out of this world.
I think obviously the high spot was the goal, but the highlight for me was when Matthew scored. Not actually the goal, but directly afterwards I look at 2 of the 3 of the players, and I think it sunk in and we could actually beat them.
From Mickey Stevens taking the corner there, I was free. We can't come from the halfway line, which nobody sees really on the telly. Just free, and I had so much time to put the ball in from right on the corner here, and there it was. Matthew had an easy goal really for him.
Well, it happened so quickly, really, that I thought I was putting the ball in the net, you know, making sure it went in. So, on the video, I'm seeing Phillips was just behind me to my right. So, obviously, left him. But it all happened so quickly that, you know, I didn't really think about that. Just thought about scoring.
Here's Dawson. Oh, and driven in! And number 11, Matthew Hanlon, followed that in.
What about the scenes at the final whistle? Because some people have written into the BBC about a young lady who's seen to be crying on the pitch.
That's right, that was my sister. Yeah, so my mum and dad were in the main stand and they were on the other side. And I just ran across to them after the game, and of course the BBC picked up on that afterwards. But they didn't know it was my sister, so that was why she was crying anyway, because over the moon about it, I suppose.
Having seen this ground empty for so many, many years, I think the most pertinent memory is seeing the ground packed to capacity and the atmosphere that generated. All around the ground, the touchlines, everybody was here enjoying themselves, happy smiles. It was a sunny day. And I think the ambience of that scene and the way it felt will be a lasting memory as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
Reading the other day, it did seem that the motto of the Benedictine months, and Benedict was appropriate, and which is, well, see everything, correct a little, but be grateful for the burden. And what I mean by that is we've seen Norwich play twice, and we will adjust our style as best we can, just a little, but we're very, very grateful for the fact that we're playing them. And the burden is a great one for us, and we're delighted at it. There are certain moral values in sport, and I think it's the way a team and the players conduct themselves that's very important, because it is a game. It is there to be enjoyed by those that play and those that watch, and that we try to set some standards for ourselves, which we don't like to fall below. And it pleased me tremendously that a statement at the end of the Coventry game that we did not give away one free kick in the second half of that game testifies, I hope, to the way the players conduct themselves and the way we approach the game. Okay. Other two points about the pitch. One, it is not a defender's pitch. On the side of caution, yes, but it is an attacker's pitch. And you've seen the size of this man Gunn. He is a big boy, and he's a good shot stopper, but the ball's on the floor. The skin off, and also we've not got to let anything die. You've always got to be optimistic in the attacking third and pessimistic in the defending third.
Barry Williams' words give way to the roar of the crowd as the part-timers share a moment of welcome with some 5,000 supporters from Surrey. United, Norwich City do a thoroughly professional job. Malcolm Allen scores 4. A hat-trick for Robert Fleck. Those two players between them cost Norwich City something like £800,000. That's just something that Sutton can dream about, because they normally play in front of 800 people. Well, today 23,000 saw Barry Williams' team overwhelmed by First Division opposition, but able at the end of the match to at least enjoy the moment
and go to their supporters and thank them for their contribution to what has been one of the stories of the FA Cup in 1989.
It's packed with 8,000 people. It is an atmosphere with its openness, which is totally different to what the run of professional First Division footballs would have experienced. But going away to a stadium such as Norwich, then the boot was on the other foot, and we were in alien surroundings, possibly a hostile environment. Our supporters were going to be in a very distinct minority, so that we knew that, allied to the very good surface that they were playing on, and that sometimes we don't have the opportunity to do so, would put us at a disadvantage. And I felt, well, we'll give of our best and hope that we can produce an unexpected result. But in my heart of hearts, we were just delighted to be where we were.
So you've taken your seat and the referee blows the whistle to start the match.
Yes, I was annoyed because my lighter wouldn't work initially, so I had to borrow a lighter. But then we were at ground level almost in the Norwich dugout, you know, and the game started, and I recall saying to Dave Wall by my side, I said, well, here we go, let's see what we can do now. And very, very quickly, a gradual feeling of apprehension moved from my boots up to my head. And certainly by the 15th minute, when we were 2 goals down, my one hope, and what I tried to say at half-time, was that you must conduct yourselves with dignity and give of your all, because then nobody can criticise you whatsoever.
Did it hurt?
Oh, yes. Yes, it did hurt. And everybody was very kind, saying, well, you did your best. Remember, you were in the last 32 of probably the most difficult football competition in Europe, so that is some consolation. But all people were honest, and the players alike. We felt great upset at 8-0, and we would be lying if we didn't say so.
Did you, in fact, do your best? Hard question, but...
Oh, yes. I look back and I look at all the players, and you can always tell when you come off a pitch, you know, when they hang their head and the sweat is pouring from neck and paws that you didn't realise you had paws. They gave their all. They were just outclassed, and we were outclassed. And it was as simple as that. But we couldn't have done any better than what we tried to do.
Reaction at the final whistle?
Relief, certainly, that it wasn't more. And grateful that we'd got this far. And then a feeling of great exhilaration. And one of the most emotional moments of my life was when the whole crowd stood and applauded the lads and demanded that they go around and acknowledge that record. And they deserved it as well, because it wasn't just the game that they played then. It was the whole cup run, possibly over 2 years, and the way they'd conducted themselves. And that ovation, followed by the Norwich players standing and clapping them in rugby style, to me was a high-charge, exhilarative moment